I feel like there's like something weird going on, and I'm like not ready like to do this video. Like I'm not in like the mindset. But anyway, I guess if you wait till you're ready, then it'll never get done, right? Here we go. What are some things that are unavoidable? Work, death, taxes, the inevitable minus 20-degree weather coming soon. But, what about fate? It seems like when you say something is unavoidable, it always pertains to something negative. But the word fate, it seems positive. But what if I told you that the dictionary definition of fate is something that is unavoidable? Then, would it cancel out the positivity that you have in the word fate? Probably not. See, the thing is, I think about fate a lot. Is it fate that causes the hardships that you go through in life? Is it fate that some people have it better than you? Is fate the reason that we're all here? What do we even do? What's our destiny? What's our bigger goal? Surely it has to be more than just to work and make money. I'm talking about the grand scheme of things. I'm talking about larger than life things. I'm talking about the little ball that we're living on floating through space at like 30 kilometers a second. Like, what was the human race meant to do? I always think about that line in Interstellar that goes, mankind was born on Earth. It was never meant to die here. And that was one of those lines from that incredible movie that really, just always stuck with me. But I suppose, you're wondering how this whole idea popped into my head. Was that fate? Well, no one knows for sure, but it was actually this video that popped up in my YouTube recommendations. And it was a video of this judge. And the judge went to the middle school with the person that was the defendant, right? And, if you're interested in the video, I've linked it down below. If, like I said, you want to watch the one that I'm referring to. And, it just got my gears turning. Like, was it fate that made her the judge and him the defendant? Why wasn't he the judge? Is it only life choices that, impact where we go? That makes sense because if you go to school to be a doctor, you'll probably have an easier time financially compared to someone like, say, me, who has no post-secondary education. But, could the universe have a bigger plan for us and, we just don't know? It's a very puzzling question. I often like to think about the odds of things. Like in my head, there's such a small chance that you could be watching this video right now. Like really think about it for a second. In order for you to be watching this video right now, I would have had to come up with the idea for this video. But then, you could take it a step further. The person that created this mic had to come up with the idea and created it. The person that came up with the idea of a camera had to come up with the idea and created it and, make it come to fruition, right? Then you take it a step further again. Both of us had to be born for me to create this video and for you to watch it. And then you could take it a step further again, and your parents had to be born, and their parents, and then, it goes on and on until it gets to the point where life was literally one cell, and then multicellular life formed, and everything had to take place and be in the right place at the right time for things to end up this way. Like, I don't want to make this a thing about religion or anything like that, but, there had to be a scientific explanation, which right now they're calling the Big Bang, right? And there had to be water, and it had to be liquid, and the right elements had to come together. And for whatever reason, some monkey they decided that they just wanted to stand up and walk. Then they had to hit two stones together to create fire. Then people started talking. Then people started trading. Then money was created. Then electricity. Then electronics. Then you fast forward to today, and we have, trains and boats and rocket ships and jobs and infrastructure and agriculture. And, it's so puzzling to me how something somewhere didn't go wrong. But, literally everything had to go right. But is there someone or something that's, kind of guiding us in the right direction? Or is it all just luck? Like, imagine if your mom and dad decided to have you a year later. Imagine you were 1 year younger. who knows the odds of you being able to watch this video or knowing the friends that you do? You know, you might have totally different friends. You might have been born into a different economical situation. Like, who really knows? Like, imagine if your dad slipped and fell at work, you know, knock on wood, and he hurt his hand, and then that delayed your parents from creating you, and they just put it off, and they just kept putting it off because things kept coming up, and then you ended up not being born. You wouldn't be here to experience life. You wouldn't be here to experience the internet and technological advancements and seeing humans go to Mars and, you know, all these amazing things that are going to happen for the human race. You know, the craziest thing to me is that all of this, like everything, wouldn't exist if humans weren't curious and didn't want to live better than they did before. Like, imagine if Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison, who are the pioneers of electricity, were just fine with candles. You know, I wouldn't be able to turn this light on. Who knows if this light would even exist? Because then you have to throw into the equation that somebody else would have had to have the idea, but then that person would have had to have been born, and then it goes on like in generations and generations, like how I was talking about before. You know, somebody probably would have just made a big candle that I had to put right here, and that lighting would probably be terrible. But, you know, was it fate that caused that? You know, why did Nikola Tesla pass away with no money? He allegedly ripped up a contract worth $12 million all the way back in 1907, which would be worth over $300 million today. But over the next 30 years, his luck and insanity, or lack thereof, deteriorated, and when Nikola Tesla passed away at the age of 87, he was at a hotel in New York City surrounded by pigeons. You know, was it fate? No one will probably ever know, but like I said before, is there some plan that's already made up? But, you know, let's take it a step further once again. Say, you know, take the people that worked at the World Trade Center. Say they didn't hear their alarm that day on September 11th, 2001. You know, maybe they missed the train. Maybe they got there late. Maybe they weren't feeling well and, you know, they missed that day of work. You know, is that fate? You know, there are so many unanswered questions when you look at, you know, the grand scheme of things. You know, it's crazy to think about when people say we could be living in a simulation, because if you actually think about it, like, what made all of this? What caused all of this? Is there another one of me out there in the universe somewhere, you know, making this same video? Or is there another one of me out there somewhere sitting and having a meal with Elon Musk? You know, like, when you think about things like that, it's so crazy because, like, you can watch videos on, like, the largest stars and the largest galaxies ever discovered, you know, as far as we're aware, and you can't tell me that you don't think that there is an extraterrestrial life somewhere. Even if it's little microbes in water, you know, that's still life, and it'll change the whole way that we think about the universe, and we think about life, and we think about everything. Because then you think about, okay, well, there's little microbes in the water, but what if we go, you know, that way instead of going this way? And, you know, what could be that way? What could be this way? What could be that way? Like, it just gets your gears turning. But, you know, then what if you discover another, you know, civilization? Like, are they more advanced, or are they advanced like us? You know, what if they found sustainable ways to travel very far at very high speeds and can zip across the universe? You know, do the laws of life apply to them? Like with us, you know, as far as I'm aware, we pass away because cells don't replicate anymore, or they get too damaged. Like, you know, that's as far as I understand it. But in reality, those are our laws of life. Those are our biological, you know, laws of life. But what's stopping Optimus Prime from existing? You know, a giant 20-foot tall robot, and, you know, they transform. They don't have cells. What if aliens are these, like, purple things that are like 100 feet tall and, like, you know, 2 centimeters wide? You know, do the laws of life apply to them? Do they have blood? Do they have, you know, brains and hearts and, you know, things like that? Was it our fate to meet them? Is it our fate to meet them? You know, it's crazy, just crazy things to think about. I can go on and on all day and all night about, you know, things like this, but I'll leave you with this. Optimus Prime once said that there are mysteries to the universe that we were never meant to solve. But who we are and why we are here are not among them. Those answers we carry inside. And as always, thanks for watching.